Hello, and welcome to the 165th edition of Beer Issues. My name is Matt Bruckert, and I'm coming to you live here from the studios at Casa de Bruckert, where we're going to be having another outstanding beer. Today, we're going to be having from the Orkney Brewing Company, the Skull Splitter. The Skull Splitter is actually a Scotch ale, or sometimes known as a wee heavy. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open this. Now, while I'm opening this, we're going to talk a little bit about the beer. I decided to do this beer because I've been watching the show Vikings. And as you can see, I don't know if you can tell, but there is actually a Viking right on the front of this beer. This beer clock is 92 out of 100 in the rating scale. So it is rated as an outstanding beer. So I didn't just say outstanding because I thought it was, but it is an outstanding beer. The beer clocks in at 8.5% alcohol by volume. So I'm just going to go ahead and pour this beer out, get a nice head on there so we can kind of check out some of the smells and that color. Now, the thing is, you see, I don't know if you can tell from the picture, I'm going to try and let some light get in here, but you're looking at a reddish amber type color, which is pretty typical for a Scotch ale. They'll go anywhere from like red to brown in a Scotch ale. A little bit off-white on the head, but as you swirl, you can see you do get some lacing on there, which is, as we discussed before, is a sign of a good quality beer when you get that lacing left over on there. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the smell. Right off the bat, I'm getting some like caramel malts. I'm getting a sweetness. I don't know if that's from the malts or some dark fruit, but there's definitely a sweetness in there and some spices. I'm getting some kind of spice. Definitely you get the caramel malts, which is actually I really enjoy. So I'm very excited about this beer. Now, I've had this beer before, but it has been a while, so I've kind of forgot some of the characteristics of the beer. So as we drink it, I'm going to kind of talk about, what's coming back to me as far as since the last time I've had it. Oh, I bet you it's been probably a good 8 years since I've had this beer. But I do have fond memories of it. And I like a good Scotch ale. And I was thinking the other day, that's one beer that we really haven't done a lot of is a Scotch ale. So I'm going to see if I can find another couple of Scotch ales. I used to drink Scotch ales quite a bit, and for some reason, and I don't know why, I just kind of got away from it. So let's go ahead and take a sample of this one. Now this is from Scotland. They do make this. That's where the brewery is in Scotland. Absolutely delicious. And I'm a fan of the Scotch ale, but the smell goes right into the taste. You get a nice caramel malt flavor in there. You get, I still think there's some kind of like a dark fruit flavor, almost like you would get in a Belgian type ale, like a dark fruit flavor. I kind of get that, but you don't get any bitterness. I think that, there's only 23 IBUs in this, so there's no bitterness really in this beer. It's very malty, but it doesn't finish super sweet, even though there is a sweetness to it. Oh yeah, it's really good. And this is pretty available. I mean, you can find this. It's not super easy to find, but if you go to like Total Wine, you can find this beer. Or I think I got this one actually at World Market. They do single beers, so a lot of times I'll go there and see their kind of odd beers that they have that aren't everyday beers. And that's where I think I got this one this time, but I think I see it at Total Wine all the time. So make sure you check this one out. It's definitely a good one. And it was actually named after a very famous, and I'm sure that this is the gentleman here that's on the front of the bottle. It's named after him. His name was Thorfinn Einarsson, who was the 7th Viking Earl of Orkney, and thus the Orkney Brewing. So he was the 7th Earl of Orkney. So just a little known fact about the beer, so you know a little bit more, something new. Yeah, it's a really nice. If you like a good Scotch ale, which I do, this is something really, really nice. And I'm going to agree with the rating, 92 out of 100. I would do it all day long. Outstanding beer, true to style. If you like Scotch ales, it's very, very true to style with maybe actually a little bit more sweetness than you might get in some other Scotch ales that I've had. Okay, now I've had Scotch ales that have quite a bit of sweetness, but I would say this is definitely got a little bit more sweetness than some Scotch ales that I've had. But I think they really balanced it very nice, made a delicious beer, and it says the beer is 5,000 years in the making. You can't go wrong. The beer clocks at 8.5% by alcohol by volume, and it tastes like maybe 5% alcohol by volume. You're not getting a boozy flavor. It's just a well balanced between the the malts and how they did it. It's just they put it together beautifully. So very, very high rating on my part. I'm going to agree with the outstanding. If you've enjoyed this, make sure you tell your friends about Beer Issues and how much fun we're having talking about great beer and drinking great beer. If you want any cool Beer Issues gear, hats, phone cases, t-shirts, go to shop.beerissues.com. Make sure you check out, we just kind of did a little update on the Beer Issues website, so you can go in and you can look at the new layout, and we're actually in the process of changing some functionality to where you can search beers to make it easier for you to search and look at the review based on the beer to see if we've done one on it before. And that's in the process, so that's not quite perfected yet, but that's in the process. Thanks to my son Mark, who is the one who helps me with everything technical, because I drink the beer. I'm not necessarily the technical master on that. So anyway, and as my wife likes to say, I have beer issues.